Okay, so today we are going to factor trinomials. To be able to factor trinomials, they need to be in standard form and they also have to be quadratic. So quadratic, remember, a leading exponent of 2, 3 terms makes a trinomial. That A, B, and C just represent numbers that we are actually going to plug in throughout the problems. The first thing you always got to do is make sure it's in standard form. There's a few different ways to factor trinomials, but I am always going to use the AC method. If you need a different method, just come see me. Okay, first thing we want to do is look at it and see if there's a greatest common factor we have to pull out, and there is not, so we can just get started with our method. So my A is 1, my B is 3, and my C is 2. So I'm always going to label A, B, and C first before I do anything else. They are always just the coefficients in front. So 1 is my A, 3 is my B, and C is 2. Your first step is to multiply A and C. So I'm just going to move to the side here. A times C, 1 times 2 is 2. Okay. From there, we are going to find factors to factor 2, add to my B. So I want to think numbers when multiply to equal 2, but add to be 3. The factors of 2 are 2 times, and negative 2 times negative will get us that positive 2. But you add those two numbers together, 2 plus 3, that equals negative. The two factors we're worried about, positive 2 and positive. So I found the factor I want. Now I can rewrite x as 2 terms, and I'm going to use that 2 and 1. And here it's going to work. So I just get 3. We're going to rewrite the problem first. Just a little further, you can see it. So error gets rewritten, and instead of 3x, x might be going to be 2 terms. I'm going to write plus 2x, I got the 2 from right here, and plus 1x, and I got the 1 right there. So 2 and 1, 2 equals 3. And then I can just rewrite the 2. Now, you notice I have terms. And from our last class, I learned how to stir with 4 terms called the grouping method. So I'm going to put my first 2 terms in parentheses, my last 2 terms in parentheses, and I'm just going to group now. I can take an x out of both of these, so an x comes out, leaving x plus 2. I can take a 1 out of both of these. A positive 1 is my greatest common factor, leaving x plus 2 on the inside. I group correctly, so my x plus 2 is my greatest common factor, and then I rewrite my x plus 1. This is the factored form of my original problem. Now, if we just want to check to make sure our answer is correct, I just use my FOIL method. X times x is x squared, x times 1 is 1x, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 1 is 2. When I combine my like terms, I get my original problem, which means it correct. So this guy right here is my factored form of my polynomial up top. Now, let's try examples. Then we're going to jump to the back page. If we make sure it's in standard form, which it is, x squared, x, and then just my constant, I first want to see if there's a greatest common factor I could pull out. And I notice that they're all even, so that means I can technically take a 2 out of everything. So that 2 comes up front, leaving x squared plus 9x plus 20. Now, I am not going to worry about that 2 until the very last step. So I'm going to cover it up, and we are going to figure out what our A, our B, and our C are. My A is 1, my B is 9, and my C is 20. AC method tells me I multiply my A and my C. 1 times 20 is 20. I want to find factors that add together to be 9. So I want my B to be 9. Scoot into that page. Factors of 20 are 10 and 2, negative 10, negative 2, 4 and 5, negative 4, negative 5. The 2 that add together to be 9 are 4 and 5. So now I have the two numbers that are going to replace my 9x. So when I rewrite that guy, it's going to be x squared, and instead of 9x, I am writing 4x plus 5x from over here, and then plus 20. Now I have 4 terms. I am going to put my first two together and my last two. My greatest common factor here is x. Pull an x out, leaving x plus 4. My second one, I can pull out a positive 5, so plus 5, leaving x plus 4. I factored it correctly, so I'm x plus 4, x plus 5. Now that is the factored form of this guy right here, but remember we pulled that 2 out, so that 2 just gets put in the very front, and that is my factored form. Alright, let's try B. My leading exponent is 2. It's 2, 1 constant. I am good. Greatest common factor, there is none. So I'm just going to start factoring. I want to first label my A, my B, and my C. My A is 2, my B is 5, and my C is 3. AC method tells me A times C. 2 times 3 is 6, and I will factor factors, so two numbers that multiply together to be 6, but add together to be 5. So I'm just going to start linking factors. 1 plus 6 is 10. Negative 1 plus negative is negative. 2 plus 3 is 5. So these are the two factors I'm going to use. So I'm going to now rewrite my original. Instead of 5x, I'm going to use those two factors. And then plus 3. Okay, now I have 4 terms, and now I am just going to the grouping method. My greatest factor here is 2x, so I'm going to pull 2x. 2's can simplify to 1, and divided by x is just x. 2x divided by 2x, x 1. Do not forget to put the 1 there. My greatest common factor here is 3, so plus 3. 3 divided by 3 is leaving x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Fact correctly, x plus 1, and then I rewrite 2x plus together. And that is my factored form. Alright, let's look at a couple examples on the back together. Alright, we look at our first problem in number C. They are not in standard form, a 2 and then a 3, then a 1. So the first thing I want to do is write it in standard form, which is 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 30x. But I also notice that my leading exponent is not 2 like I want it to be. It is a 3. So I need to see if I can pull a greatest common factor out, which I can. They technically all have an x, and they're all even, which means I can take a 2x out of everything. When I take the 2x out, I'm left with x squared plus 2x minus 30 divided by 2 is 15. Now I have a leading exponent of 2, and it's in standard form. So I'm going to use my space up here. A equals 1, because remember I'm covering up that 2x. My B equals 2, and my C equals negative 15. So AC method tells you 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. There's a negative 15 that add together to be 2. So let's look. A negative 5 and a 3 multiply together gets negative 15. A positive 5 and a negative 3 does a 2. We also have 15 and negative 1, and we have negative 15 and positive 1. Negative 5 plus 3 is a negative 2. I want it to be positive, so it's not that. 5 negative 3 is 2, so that is my set of factors I am going to use. So now, instead of 2x, I am rewriting it as plus 5x and minus 3x and then minus 15. And just so you know, if you wrote negative 3x over here and 5x there and like you switch them, you're still going to get the same answer when you use the grouping method. So from there, I'm going to group. My greatest common factor here is x, so I pull an x out, leaving x plus 5. My greatest common factor here is negative 3. Don't forget to take that negative 3 out, making that an x and changing that sign to a positive 5. X plus 5, and then I put the x minus 3 together, and then that 2x in the very beginning, we factored out. You can't forget about them. They go to the front. And that is your fully factored form. All right, let's try one more together, then the answer key for the rest will be on Classroom. All right, so it's in standard form. My leading exponent is 2, which means I can get to work. My a is 3, my b is negative 8, and my c is 4. A C method tells you 3 times 4, which is 12. Now let's put together some factors of 12 that might add together to be negative 8. I have 3 and 4. I have negative 3, negative 4. I have 6 and 2. I have negative 6, negative 2. 1 and 12. Negative 1, negative 12. Now you don't have to list every set of factors if you already automatically know what two numbers multiply together to be 12 but add together to be negative 8. I look through the list. My two numbers that add together to be negative 8 are these two. So those are the two I'm going to rewrite negative 8n with. So I'm going to have 3n squared, and then instead of negative 8n, I'm going to write negative 6n minus 2n plus 4. Now I'm going to use my grouping method. My greatest factor over here is 3n, so I take a 3n out, leaving n minus 2. Over here I'm going to take a negative 2 out of both because of that negative symbol right there, leaving n minus 2. n minus 2, that's my greatest common factor, and 3n minus 2. That is fully factored. Okay, now go ahead and try the rest by yourself. There will be an answer key online. Don't get worried if like one of them isn't fully factored, or if you can't factor it, just check the answer key to see if you did it correctly.